Welcome to this episode of Biz Takeout's Biz Community Soundbite Size News to Go, made possible by Facebook in partnership with Hello Square, an independently owned creative agency with a passion for digital and beyond. I'm your host, Angie White, and I'm very excited to introduce today's guests. Jade Carlisle is the Business Unit Director, and Craig Miles is the Creative Director of Hello Square. And they'll be sharing insights of the brand new Facebook Tinkies Milk Tart flavor launch, as well as how the campaign was created, implemented, and reached award-winning success. Welcome, Jade and Craig.
Thank you, Angie.
So Jade, let's start right at the beginning. Could you tell us about the campaign and what sparked the idea for this campaign? How did the idea come about?
Sure. Well, I think Tinkies itself doesn't really need an introduction. I think we all know and love this brand. It is a leader in the baked goods category and has been around for a number of years. In terms of our target audience, Tinkies' target audience is tweens and teens. And everything that gets developed is developed with this target market in mind. Now, as we know, the pandemic hit and everything and everyone changed, and we were no different. All of a sudden, our consumers, who would be a huge part of the nag factor in the shopping aisle with parents, was now totally removed from the equation. And we had a parent, so a mom or a dad, becoming the main shopper. And what was happening with them was they were spending a lot less time in the actual shop. So even though Tinkies is in the bread aisle and it's right there where you would go for your everyday shopping, we would just find that we didn't have access to our consumer anymore. So this led us to, I think, what was actually one of the biggest pivots in the business was to relook who our new consumer and target market was. And that meant we had to find out a lot about this new adult target market. And that's really what set the campaign off and brought it to life.
Perfect. Yeah, I think COVID has had a massive impact on a lot of campaigns. So definitely a great opportunity to pivot and show that innovation. And then Craig, can you maybe share some insights into why there was a need for this campaign?
Thanks, Angie. Absolutely. So this whole category is really driven by product innovation, and that really is the whole baked treats category. And product innovation is indulgence, flavors, textures, format, and all of those types of innovations into product development and that category itself. And really, the reason why we needed to launch this campaign is Tinkies hadn't launched a new product innovation since 2019. And that was when we launched a Tinkies half and half product. And that was almost more than a year ago. So we desperately needed to launch some sort of product innovation. And so our job was quite simple. It was really launch a new Tinkies, but what? And that's where we came up with this whole concept and idea.
Awesome. And what a great idea it was. And then tell me, Jade, how has the COVID pandemic affected the ideation or planned marketing for this campaign?
Completely. I think it completely changed how we do business, what we consider to be normal. You know, if you consider a normal product innovation launch, you would start with your consumer or with your target market, and then you would look at developing flavors and products and campaigns around them. Now, all of a sudden, we're not considering a character launch and we're not considering a kids Tinkies anymore. We're now thinking about how do we create something for our new audience. And I think to do that, we had to look at the audience we had available to us. So as a digital team, we had access to a highly engaged Facebook audience. So we're talking 18 to 45-year-olds. And we used this to our advantage to find out what they were interested in, should we bring out a new flavor innovation, as well as asking them some key questions. And I think interesting for us was that in the questions, they were telling us that they weren't just buying Tinkies for their kids. Predominantly, they were buying it for themselves and their kids. And sometimes they're buying it for themselves and they weren't even sharing it with their kids. So I think this was a really interesting piece of information for us as a team.
And then Craig, which channels did you use to bring the campaign to life?
The channels that we used were, we basically looked at this audience and tried to refine and simplify the channels that we were using. So previously with the younger audience, Tinkies had often gone out and tried to use as many new and innovative channels like Snapchat, TikTok, and those types of channels. And really with us, we wanted to reach the audience and get as much reach as possible with that 18 to 45-year-old group. So our hero channels were really Facebook and Instagram, knowing that's where most of this audience was sitting. And from there, we also used a number of unpaid influencers. And this is a strategy that's worked really hard for us in the past as well. And then we used Suzelle DIY as our main influencer, and she just slotted in perfectly to bring this whole South African milk tart flavor to life as our hero influencer throughout the campaign. And then we partnered with our digital content partner, who was Foodies of SA, and they created a beautiful Tinkies tart for us, or cake, which obviously was devoured by the internet. And then we also created this direct cake mail, and really what that was a physical baked Tinkies with this custom stenciled, cinnamon dusted Tinkies branded, and it just looked absolutely beautiful. And we sent that out to all our unpaid influencers. And then lastly, we used programmatic banners as well and digital display, which also linked through to like Pick n Pay online, Checkers online, and that was able to, obviously during the pandemic, just allow people to purchase Tinkies via those channels as well.
I love that, and Suzelle DIY is one of my favorites, so I couldn't have expected anything better than that. So really, really awesome job putting everything together. And then Jade, what were the results of this campaign? Were any of them unexpected? What role did the COVID pandemic play in it, if any?
I think there was a lot of unexpected results for the campaign. I think even just how it came about was unusual for us. And being able to tap into the insights for us gave us access to information that we wouldn't have had. And that main insight was that there was a huge appetite for a more sophisticated flavor of Tinkies, for more adult flavors. And when we actually did the research and we put out the content and we got the audience to tell us what they wanted, they had given us like a top 4 route of where we could go. And then we took those into testing and we asked them again, out of our top 4 like actual options, what did they want? We had red velvet, we had salted caramel, we had milk tart, and milk tart was the overriding success and the #1 voted for flavor. But it was only ever meant to be a limited edition launch. So limited edition means you actually have the products in the market for about 3 months. And what we found was that we sold out ahead of time. So the actual product in the market was finished. We exceeded our volume targets in that time. And then what was hugely exciting was that what was meant to be this limited edition product became a permanent SKU on the Tinkies line. And not only that, it was and continues to be our best performing product in the portfolio, even overtaking vanilla, which has historically always been our #1. And we're currently performing almost 20% ahead of our volume targets on milk tart.
That is insane and amazing that something that was meant to be limited edition has now become a permanent fixture. I think that speaks volumes for what South Africa wants. But really, congratulations on doing an amazing job with that campaign. And then, Craig, did you experience any challenges with this campaign, and what were they?
Okay, so thanks very much. There were a number of challenges that we experienced with this campaign, and really it's with product development. Usually you can go to the streets, but obviously COVID hit and we were forced to take all that product development and questioning to a digital space. And that's really where we came up with the idea to use the Facebook lead generation ads to start digging into consumer insights and thoughts and asking our actual audience what they want. And that's where we were able to find out that they wanted this more sophisticated flavor. And like Jade mentioned, we had over 25,000 consumers come back to us, and that's a staggering amount of people, hugely more than what we would have been able to achieve had we gone to the streets. So we went into this confidently knowing what we could actually walk away from it with. And then it was also a case of, when we actually developed the product and asked people what flavors they wanted, we were able to use that same audience, retarget back into them, asking them which of those flavors they would want. And that was one of the key things, was really speaking to this audience. And that's how we came up with Facebook flavored Tinkies idea and campaign, which led us onto the milk tart variant. And then the other challenge that we faced was also when we started filming with Suzelle DIY. I think we were probably not necessarily the first, but it was our first shoot that we had to do with COVID restrictions in place. And we weren't able to get onto airplanes. So we're sitting in a Google Hangout with Suzelle DIY and her team, all trying to film this ad, and we're trying to, give feedback via like Google comments and things like that. But there was delayed responses. But obviously Suzelle is brilliant, like you mentioned, and she just completely got what we wanted to achieve from this really truly South African flavor. And it's also exactly what she embodies and embraces. So we walked away with amazing pieces from her, even though we didn't have all the control we may have liked, but they were incredible.
Well, it sounds like you faced quite a few challenges and also made many memories along the way. And on that note, Jade, do you have any standout memories from this campaign or lessons that you've learned or any insights that you can share with us?
I think the whole campaign stands out for me. I think being part of a new product development process that involves consumers and is at the heart of it a digital product innovation for me is pretty standout. I think that it then became something that was now a profitable part of the business and that started out from an actual need to pivot. I think that for me proves the success of our digital marketing campaigns and the business impact that they can have. And then I think we're very proud because award season has kicked off and the New Generation Awards are the first awards of the season. And our Tinkies Facebook flavored campaign picked up 2 silver awards. So we won for best use of social media to research and evaluate. And I think we've covered a lot of how we did that. And then best revenue generating marketing campaign, which is also a silver award. And I think that for me, it just proves the success of the entire campaign and how it came together. So very excited for the rest of award season, but also I think what this campaign has proven. And I think that's going to open up a lot of exciting opportunities. And, the awards are great, but it also just shows it's testament to that client relationship and that trust that you have, where you're pitching these new ideas, you're trying to do a pivot, which is always difficult for a business, and you're working together. And I think that trust has totally paid off and something that we're very proud of.
Definitely something to be proud of. And a huge congratulations on those 2 wins. Definitely well deserved. Everything seems to have come together really, really great with this campaign. So yeah, definitely something good to be proud of. And then Craig, do you have any plans to expand on this campaign? Can we expect any more adult flavors?
So we won't be expanding on this specific milk tart campaign as such, but there's some serious innovation in the pipeline that we've been working on and excited to launch. And then you would have also seen that Tinkies has just launched Tinkies Minis into the market as well, which is roughly a kind of bite-sized Tinkies treat to excite the market as well. So definitely stay tuned for what else we have in store.
I'll be keeping my eyes peeled for sure. It sounds like there's exciting things coming from this brand and from your agency as well. So thanks so much. And then lastly, how can people get in touch?
Angie, very easily, you can drop me an email. So my email is jade@hellosquare.co.za. Very happy to talk.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate chatting to both of you today and just chatting about this amazing campaign. It's really been awesome. So thank you.
Thanks so much. Thanks, team.
Thanks very much, Angie.
Really enjoyed it.
And that's a wrap on today's show with thanks to Facebook and Hello Square for making it possible. It's Biz Takeouts. Take it where you like it, when you like it. Until next time.